Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. Today is Monday, August the 18th, 2025. So, let's see. Again, a friendly reminder to everybody: if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask a question, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. I know we have three people in here already, so I think I'll just go ahead and get right into talking about what's on tap tonight. So I do have one article we're going to go over tonight from ETV Tunes, as it's been announced after teasing it for quite some time that MeTV Tunes will be starting to show the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon from back in 1987. So the first, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoons that many of us grew up on. So MeTV Tunes will now be, of course, showing that. Then we'll have quite an extensive version of the wrestling wrap up today. Quite a bit happened over the weekend, including TNA's emergence. There was a special episode of Ring of Honor TV on Ring of Honor Wrestling special YouTube broadcast on Friday. Triple A had with WWE talent had Triple Mania. So we'll get caught up on all that. We'll get caught up on, of course, Friday Night SmackDown, Collision on Saturday. Look ahead to not only tonight's Monday Night Raw, but we'll also look ahead to this Saturday's Forbidden Door pay-per-view coming from England, and of course WWE is counter-programming as well against AEW. So we'll just see how all that pans out. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started then? Get right into the material. As I said, and then of course we'll finish things off with this day in each history as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let me just find the article. Go over tonight here. All right, so let's get going here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is coming to MeTV Tunes. Turtle Power. Published August 15th, 2025. August 15th, of course, was this past Friday by MeTV Tunes staff. There it is right there. You see going in clockwise order. Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo. Cowabunga, dudes and dudettes. We have been teasing this news, but now we can officially tell you that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is joining the MeTV Tunes lineup on September 15th. But that's not all. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will air 3 times a day on weekdays. You can watch your favorite Heroes in a Half Shell weekdays at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central, 4:30 a.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, 1 Pacific, and 12 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Pacific. And I was noticing this too, particularly, so obviously they're going to be replacing some of the other, 7:30 right now, Beetlejuice, so they'll be replacing that. Now, I don't know if they'll take up the full hour or just a half hour, but the 4 p.m. slot right now is being used by Scooby-Doo. And then 12 a.m., that's the second half of Tune In with Me rebroadcast from the main MeTV channel. So And as I said, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. That goes for my Rumble viewers as well. Um, so, anyways, we on now as we continue going on with the article here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles premiered in 1987 as a 5-part miniseries, began its full-time run in October of 1988, and aired for 8 years with characters launched into the pop culture zeitgeist and cementing its place as one of the most popular animated series in television history. The series features Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo, a fictional superhero team of anthropomorphic turtles trained in ninjutsu, living in the sewers of New York City. And of course, it originally started on syndication, then eventually became part of the CBS Saturday mornings. I was doing with them. So, quote, Turtlemania, unquote, is here to stay, and now 40 years after the comics launched, the series is still as popular as ever. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic books sold over 2 million issues in 2024, became the biggest comic book launch of the year, with the first issue of the relaunch of the IDW series selling over 300,000 copies. There have been 4 other animated series, 8 feature films, and a live-action series released over the years. So each generation of fans has had its own version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. MeTV Tunes is excited to take you back to where it all began with the classic 1987 cartoon. With 193 episodes of radical awesomeness, mark your calendars for September 15th. Order a pizza in honor of the Turtles and get ready to tune in. For original 80s fans, prepare to relive your childhood. And for newer viewers, it is an honor to introduce the fun action-packed series to you. It's Turtle Time. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell, turtle power. That went so quickly. I guess maybe I will. That went a little too quickly, so I think I might try to find another article to go over. Maybe on bounding into comics here, because that one went a lot quicker than I thought it would. But anyways, just give me a sec here where I see what all right. Actually, okay. So actually, look, I found a. Oh wait, what's this now? Okay, here's something that we've been kind of covering here of late. This article looks What interesting. Let's see. All right, so I did find an article that I think might take us a little bit of time here, at least, hopefully, at least 10 to 15 minutes here, if possible. All right, so all new Venom scribe Al Ewing says Paul, quote, isn't going to vanish, unquote, after MJ breakup, but role will shrink, quote, as time goes by, unquote. Um, yeah, so we've been kind of following this particular story angle as kind of relates back to the whole big drive among the fandom that wants to see MJ and Peter get back together in the comics. But the editorial seems to be ignoring a lot of that um, over the most part. The article by Spencer McCauley published back on August 16th, which of course was this past Saturday. So let's get into this article then. Though Spider Man's latest romantic rival may no longer have a place in Mary Jane's bed. Oh, nice way to say it, boys. Marvel Comics writer Al Ewing says that the widely despised Paul Raven will still have a role to play in the all-new Venom's future adventures. Annoyingly thrust upon readers for years, thanks to some misplaced belief by former Amazing Spider-Man scribe Zeb Wells and the Spider-Man editorial group that his uh, bleak blocking of Peter Parker was peak drama. Paul was shown the door in the recent All New Venom Volume 1, Number 9, with the symbiote's current red-headed host choosing to break things off after having the admittingly sad and adult realization things simply were not working out between the two. So I'm guessing that Mary Jane is now Venom. Oh boy. Hmm. 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 Look at that. All right. Anyways, I was just looking at the pigment reading to myself. I figured you guys might have caught that too a little bit there. However, with with MJ voicing her decision on the issue's very last page, ecstatic fans were left unsure as to just how the pair's breakup would unfold. Many even hoping that Paul would follow in the footsteps of such former spider-related love interests like Harley Cooper or Nora Winters and just vanish from his respective books' narrative. Unfortunately for those waiting with bated breath for such an outcome, it seems Ewing plans, I think that's supposed to be plans, to take the high road, declining to unceremoniously dump Paul on the side of the highway, and instead gradually phase Paul out of Spider-Man, MJ, and Venom's life. Ewing, who has helmed the symbiote's various solo books, evidently Donnie Cate's premature car accident prompted exit from Venom Volume 4, spoke to Paul's next chapter during a recent interview given to IGN regarding his upcoming Venom Volume 1, number 250, a milestone issue wherein he'll recount MJ's first meeting with her alien partner's malevolent progenitor, Null. Quote, Paul isn't going to vanish from the narrative any more than MJ's vanished from Peter's. For better or worse, they've been a part of each other's lives for quite some time. At the end of the day, I'm writing the continuing lives of two grown adults, unquote. He told the outlet, quote, but Paul's going to have less of a part to play in the story as time goes by. So instead of just having him disappear, well, if I understand it too, I think at least in the narratives that people have been doing, Paul and Mary Jane were married and have kids and all that. So you can't just have them disappear because, of course, they've got kids and all that. So as for MJ herself, Ewing wound down the interview by hinting that, quote, the Venom Null story isn't going to play out how anyone expects it will, including Venom and Null themselves. I guess, unquote. Quote, MJ's going to have to deal with Null in a way Eddie didn't have to, while fighting off a whole other cosmic entity besides. But that's all the spoilers I'm going to give about that for now. Quote, Venom, number 250, does set big things up for the future. That'll play out in various places. I won't spoil everything we're doing, but I will say that number 250 is where we finally meet MJ's agent, unquote. Whoa, look at that. Further, though not touched upon by Ewing, it should be noted that while Paul may no longer be standing in her way, it's unlikely that the development will lead to a romantic rekindling between MJ and her one true beau, Peter Parker. Marvel's editorial's tired insistence on keeping the web-slinger young aside, the most recent issue of Amazing Spider-Man Volume 7 saw Ben Reilly, who is all but officially confirmed to be impersonating the currently off-Earth Peter, torched whatever current bridge may exist between them. Featuring art by Terry Dodson and Todd Knock, as well as a backup story from Eddie Brock Carnage Volume 1, writer Charles Soule, and all-new Venom Volume 1 artist Carlos Gomez, MJ and Null's face-to-face is set to unfold when Venom number 250 hit shelves on October 1st. All right, so there we go with that one. See where we're at now. Where are we at on time? All right, yeah, all right. So now what I'm going to do is, actually, even before I do that, I'm going to probably need to, let me see here. I'm actually going to need to step away from the computer for, well, before I do that, let me just see if there's any comments on Rumble here. Again, to my Rumble viewers as well, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly viewers to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. Same goes for my YouTube viewers. I am going to need to step away for a quick moment. I'll be right back, but as always, I'll put some music on to entertain you guys while I'm away. All right, I'm back. So, anyways, we're going to talk now a little bit about, we're going to kind of get caught up on all the weekend's wrestling action. We're going to look back, of course, to a lot of stuff that happened on Friday night, including, of course, TNA's Emergence, SmackDown, and the special episode of Ring of Honor. Look back to Saturday's Collision. Look ahead, of course, to tonight's Raw, and look ahead to this Saturday's Forbidden Door pay-per-view from AEW. Let me just go ahead and go find that information. Also, Triple A's Triple Mania as well, which happened on Saturday. So we'll. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at, of course, we're going to talk a bit about what all went down on SmackDown. Actually, better yet, Maybe I should try to say that for the last thing. Maybe we'll go actually from the least well known. Um, all right, so let me see here then. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about, actually, we're going to talk a bit about the Ring of Honor special episode that was on YouTube on Friday. Um, of course, coming from the Byline Bank Aragon Ballroom in Chicago, Illinois. Opening match saw Nick Wayne defend the Ring of Honor World Television title against Willie Mack, with of course Mother Wayne and Kip Sabian in his corner, in which he successfully defended that title. In a six-man trios match, AR Fox and the Outrunners defeated Shane Taylor Promotions of the Infantry, Carly Bravo, and Sean Dean and Shane Taylor, with of course Anthony Ogogo and Trish Adora in their corner. In a one-on-one match, Ring of Honor legend Jay Lethal defeated Alex Zane. QT Marshall defeated the OXP. Former Ring of Honor World Women's Television Champion Billy Starks defeated Allison Kay, one half of the Hex. Blake Christian and Lee Johnson defeated Beef and Tom LaRue. Marina Shafir with John Moxley in her corner, representing the Death Riders, defeated Marty Bell, the other half of the Hex being former NWA World Tag Team Champions. In a six-man tag match, Adam Priest and the Workhorsemen of Anthony Henry and JD Drake defeated the three men of Josh Fuller, Joe Keys, and Ryan Zuko. TMLL's Alchemist, Hechicero, defeated Jordan Oliver, and in the main event saw Mascara Dorado and Neon of El Sky Team defeat the premier athletes of Aria Davari and Tony Nese. So that's all that went down on Ring of Honor's special episode. Now of course, let's go talk a bit about what happened on Emergence. TNA pay-per-view that was held in Baltimore. First off, on the Countdown to Emergence, which happened as a pre-show on YouTube, with coming from the Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena, with Matthew Rainwell and Tom Hannafan on commentary. Indy Hartwell defeated Rosemary in a one-on-one match, and the Hometown Man defeated Ryan Nemeth. This match was set up with Ryan Nemeth after his brother was suspended for assaulting TNA staff, and thereby and thereby, being the Nemeth not being able to exercise a contractual rematch, at least here at Emergence, so which they were looking to do, but Santino suspended Nick Nemeth for assaulting TNA security and staff members after his loss of the titles. Then, now getting on to the main Emergence show. Also coming from the Chesapeake Employers Insurance Bank in Baltimore Arena on TNA Plus, with, of course, Tom Hannafin and Matthew Rainwalt on commentary, with, of course, at certain points in the night, Joe Hendry and Frankie Kazarian coming in to guest co-host. The opening match of the evening saw Leon Slater defend and retain the TNA X Division title over recently arrived Prime Cedric Alexander. In a match that's been in a couple weeks in the making, the complete Matt Cardona defeated Mustafa Ali, who had, of course, the rest of his Order 4 faction, squad of Agent Zero, Jason Hotch, John Schuyler, and Tasha Steelz. In a tag team match, first class, with AJ Francis and the recently returned Rich Swann, defeated Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers of the System. Not a good night for the System. And we'll get into that a little bit more as, of course, Rich Swann made his return after of course, Casey Navarro had got injured at back at Slammiversary and had to have surgery, and of course now AJ Francis just dumping him like a sack of trash. Then in a Baltimore street fight, Mike Santana defeated Sami Callihan. The big news item that came out of this, Sami Callihan, of course, being I believe a two-time TNA World Champion, and now with this loss, announced his retirement as an in-ring performer. So this match was to see if he had anything left to give. But Sami Callihan, following his loss to Mike Santana, retired as an in-ring performer. Then moving on to the next match, in the four-way match for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles, Heather and M by Elegance retained for the Elegance brand, as now of course calling it the Elegance rule. The Elegance brand would utilize the rule that was classically known as the Freebird rule to allow M to fill in for Ash. Ash and Heather were the ones who originally held it. Ash and, of course, in the personal concierge, were in the corner. They fended off. They successfully retained the title over Fatal Influences, Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix, with JC Jade in their corner. The Inspiration, former TNA Knockout World Tag Team Champions, The Inspiration of Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay, with Mara Sade in their corner, and then, of course, Masha Slamovich being in the corner of Lei Ying Lee and Zaya Brooks. And it was also announced that Lei Ying Lee has officially signed full-time with TNA and will, of course, continue on within the company. It was also announced that coming up this Saturday, well, we'll get to that in a moment. As we'll get to some of the stuff coming up Saturday. In a no count-out, no disqualification match for the TNA International title, Steve Macklin retained over Jake Something. The Hardy Boys retained the TNA World Tag Team Champions over the Rascals duo of Myron Reed and Zachary Wentz. And Trick Williams retained the TNA World title over Moose. So, So now, and as I said, we'll get to some. All right. So now that we got through all that, so let's now take a look um, at SmackDown. What happened on SmackDown this past Friday? So I can grab that. So this past Friday's SmackDown, which came from Boston, Massachusetts. Let's see. Past Friday night SmackDown, coming from the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, with Wade Barrett and Joe Testatori on commentary on the USA Network. The opening match saw one half of the women's tag team champions Alexa Bliss with Charlotte Flair with her tag partner Charlotte Flair in her corner, defeating Piper Niven of the Secret Herverse with Alba Fire and Chelsea Green in her corner. After the match, of course, saw the Chelsea Green and the Secret Herverse beat down Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Then, following that, Carmelo Hayes and The Miz, as a team known as Melo Don't Miz, defeated Axiom and Dan Frazier in just over 12 minutes in a tag team match. And then in another tag team match, the Street Profits of Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford with B-Fab in their corner defeated the team of DIY of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano with Candice LeRae in their corner. Of course, B-Fab coming out to even out the odds and keep Candice LeRae from getting too involved. And the main event, which was set up earlier in the night, saw in six-man tag action Jacob Fatu, Jimmy Uso, and Sami Zayn defeating the My Family Tree trio of JC Mateo, Solo Sikoa, and Tonga Loa with Tala Tonga in the corner. So that's all that went down on Friday. On Friday. So now looking ahead to Saturday, as some major things happen on Saturday, AEW's of course Collision, and then AAA's Triple Mania. We will get to that in a moment. So first up on this Saturday's from this past Saturday's Collision. Past Saturday's Collision, which came to people from the Andrew J. Brady Music Center in Cincinnati, Ohio, airing on TNT with Tony Schiavone and Matt Menard on commentary. Yeah, the Death Riders duo of John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta with Marina Shafir in their corner defeating Jet Speed of Speedball Mike Bailey and the Jet Kevin Knight. You also had in single Ace Austin making his debut in AEW as Ace Austin, the former three-time TNA World Tag Team Champion, recently signed with AEW, coming up short in his debut against Ricochet. The team of Paragon of Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong defeating the team of Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. A little bit of drama happened after the match as, of course, Kyle O'Reilly, who's also affiliated with the conglomeration, their members came out to congratulate Kyle and Roderick on their win. Of course, New Japan strong openweight champion Tomohiro Ishii and Hologram, only for Roderick Strong to still seem to be a little sour on the idea. You always get the impression that Roderick might be a little jealous of the conglomeration, maybe. Like they're taking one of his compadres away from him, and that's not the case. If anything, I think Kyle's been trying to get Roderick to kind of just hang out with them and be cool with them and stuff like that. So we'll see how that all. In a $100,000 four-way match, Chris Statlander defeated Anna Jay, Julia Hart, and Penelope Ford. Then you saw Juice Robinson defeat Brian Keith in a one-on-one match. Of course, Juice Robinson had Austin Gunn in his corner, while Brian Keith had Big Bill in his corner. And the main event for the IWGP, and the main event for the number one contendership for the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, in a match to determine who would actually take on Zack Sabre Jr. for that title at Forbidden Door. Nigel McGuinness outlasted Daniel Garcia, Hechicero, and Lee Moriarty to earn that shot at Zack Sabre Jr. in England. So we'll go over the full extent of the card in a few moments here, as we will now, of course, get ready to move on to the other big thing that happened this past Saturday, which was Triple A's Triple Mania. Of course, as we reported recently, WWE kind of bought up Triple A, and so some of their talent were also involved in this pay-per-view. Of course, one of the big events that was happening during the night was the induction of Conan into Triple A's Hall of Fame. Now, of course, this was live. This came Triple Mania 33 came from the Arena Ciudad de Mexico, or the Mexico City Arena in the Mexico City Federal District, Mexico, on Mexico's HBO Max channel, with Jose Manuel Guillen, Marcelo Rodriguez, and Roberto Figueroa. I believe it was also on YouTube as well, and I think from what I heard, JBL might have been one of the guys doing the English commentary for it. The opening match was a Copa Bardejal Cibernetico match, which was, I guess, some kind of elimination multi-man match in which Omos came in and defeated, basically eliminated, I think it was an over-the-top rope battle royal is what it was. Yet other participants, including Abismo Negro Jr., Aerostar, Cibernetico, Cruz de la Torre, and Joaquin Wilde of the LWO, La Parca, Laredo Kid, Mecha Wolf, Microman, who was a midget, Octagon Jr., Otis. Otis made his in-ring return at there. Pimpinella, Escarlata, and Taurus. In a match for the AAA Latin American title, El Mesias with Dorian Roldan defended against El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. Well, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. defeated El Mesias to become the new AAA Latin American title. In a mixed six-person tag match, Judgment Day's members consisting of WWE World Tag Team Champions Finn Balor and JD McDonough, with Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez in their corner, defeated the team of Lola Vice, Mr. Iguana, and Nino Hamagurosa. In a street fight for the AAA World Tag Team titles, Pagano and Psycho Clown defeated Los Garzas to become the new champions. In a triple threat match for the Reina de Reina title, Flammer retained over Fabi Apache and and Natalia. And then in the fatal four-way match for the mega title, El Hijo del Vikingo retained over WWE's Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and El Grande Americano, in which saw AJ Styles get involved and cost Mysterio the title. So like for a moment there, Mysterio was going to win the mega title as well, only for AJ Styles to come in and cost him the title. So now that we got all that, now that we're caught up to Saturday, now looking ahead to tonight's action as well as looking ahead to tonight's action as well as the Saturdays. So we're gonna first off. So looking ahead to tonight's Monday Night Raw. Tonight's Monday Night Raw, which will be coming from the Xfinity Mobile Arena in Philadelphia, PA, on Netflix. Xavier in the opening match is set for Xavier Woods to be taking on Penta. In a match for the Women's Intercontinental title, Becky Lynch will be defending against Natalia. Former WWE Women's World title, Io Sky, will be taking on recently dethroned WWE Women's Tag Champion Raquel Rodriguez, and then Jey Uso is set to take on Braun Breaker. Now, looking ahead to this Saturday, as the WWE does have a major event this Saturday as well. They actually have a couple of big events actually this Saturday and Sunday. And actually, I said Saturday but it's actually Sunday. So, actually, in fact, we'll just go Sunday. The Sunday, opposing, of course, AEW's Forbidden Door pay-per-view. WWE will be holding the Heatwave event in Lowell, Massachusetts, at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. They'll be showing it on Netflix. Match is already signed for this PLE Heatwave 2025. We'll see. Of course, JC Jane will be defending the TNA Knockout World title in a triple threat match against Ash by Elegance and former champ Masha Slamovich. Number one contenders triple threat match for the NXT Women to determine who will be the next challenger for JC Jane's NXT Women's Champion. Lola Vice will be taking on Jada Parker, and they'll be taking on Kalani Jordan. In a match for the WWE tag team titles, Hank and Tank Ledger and Hank Walker will be defending against Dark State. The two exact members who will be actually competing in the match have not been determined yet. Jordan Grace looks to get some revenge on Blake Monroe for all the stuff that she's done to her recently, as they will be facing off. And then Oba Femi will be defending the TNA, the NXT title at Heatwave. So now, looking ahead to Sunday, Sunday the 24th there. As also on that day, as I told you, WWE was counter-programming AEW. As on that date as well, AEW will be holding its Forbidden Door pay-per-view from England, from the United Kingdom. Forbidden Door will be coming from the O2 in London, England. The pre-show, which will be on YouTube, has, of course, no matches listed yet. And now for the main card of Forbidden Door, coming up on Sunday the 24th. The opening match is slated for the reunion of course, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, aka Cage and Cope, taking on the matriarchy of Kip Sabian and Ring of Honor World Television title Nick Wayne, with Mother Wayne in the corner. Kyle Fletcher is set to defend the TNT title against New Japan's Hiromu Tanahashi. Now, Forbidden Door was a concept they started last year, where they would basically co-promote an event with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So Forbidden Door is being co-promoted with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mercedes Moné will be set to defend the TBS title in a four-way match with, of course, representatives from AEW, CMLL, and Stardom. Of course, two of those three representatives have already been named. Mercedes Moné will, of course, be defending the match against Alex Windsor, representing AEW. Persephone, representing CMLL, and Stardom's representative is still yet to be determined. The Hurt Syndicate will be defending the AEW World Tag Team titles against the winner of the finals of the tournament that will be held this Wednesday on Dynamite between FTR and Brodito. FTR of Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, and Brodito of Brody King and Bandito, with the winner of that match heading to Forbidden Door to take on Hurt Syndicate for the AEW World Tag Team. In a match for the AEW Unified title, Kazuchika Okada will be defending against Swerve Strickland. This match came about when Okada, basically called out Swerve Strickland for, of course, costing the Young Bucks their VP positions with the help of course, Will Ospreay. In a match for the AEW Women's World title, AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm defends against Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, or she likes to call herself the Forever Champion, Athena. In a match for the IWGP World Heavyweight title, Zack Sabre Jr. will be defending against Nigel McGuinness, who will have Daniel Garcia. Of course, Nigel McGuinness earned this shot this past Saturday at Collision. Adam Page defends the AEW World title against MJF after basically convincing MJF to basically to use his contract option. And in the main event, we'll see a lights out steel cage match as Darby Allin, the Golden Lovers of Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay and Hiroshi Tanahashi will be taking on the Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley, Gabe Kidd, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. So that's all I got for the wrestling wrap-up. We looked ahead to all the stuff going on there. And now, with that being said, let's go ahead with today being Monday, August the 18th, 2025. Go ahead and take a look back at this day in each history. So let me just look at some things here real quick. 2010, 2020, 2000, and 1965. All right. Yes. Here, okay. And again, if anything, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. I'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that being said, let's the first thing I'd like to do, of course, in the This Day in Each History segment, would be I'd like to wish a happy 60th birthday to Japanese voice actress, called in Japan Seryus, to Ikue Otani. Ikue Otani. Now, most of us know her or know her work. She, of course, is the voice or does the vocal effects, anyways, of Pikachu in the Pokemon series, even the English version. So, aside from that, for Japanese fans, she's also the Japanese voice for Tony Chopper in One Piece. Mitsuhiko Subaraya in Detective Conan. What we know as Case Closed, and Morgana in Persona 5. A happy 60th birthday to Kue Otani. Hope she has a good day today. So with that, now moving on to the year 2000. As on this date in the year 2000, and I grab that. Premiering, of course, on Cartoon Network, the pilot episode of Sheep in the Big City premiered on this date back in 2000. It premiered as part of Cartoon Network's Cartoon Summer on August 18, but for its official debut in November of that year. So the pilot episode for Sheep in the Big City premiered on this date back in the year 2000, 25 years ago today. Now, with that being said, of course, let's get ready to move on to the next piece of niche history. And we'll move ahead to the year 2010, 15 years ago today. On this date, 15 years ago today, in the year 2010, the 50th and final issue of Ex Machina went on sale from DC's Wildstorm imprint. So the 50th and final issue of DC's Ex Machina from their Wildstorm imprint went on sale on this date back in the year 2010, 15 years ago today. It sold for $4.99. The story was Vice, as written by Brian K. Vaughan, with art by Tony Harris. Jared K. Fletcher did the lettering, and J.D. Mettler did the coloring. And finally, on this date 5 years ago today, in the year 2020, as soon as I pull that up, on this date in the year 2020, Rohit Raju defeated Chris Bay and TJP in a triple threat match to become the new Impact X Division champion. Chris Bay came into the match as the champion. Rohit Raju defeated Chris Bay and TJP triple threat match to become the new Impact Wrestling X Division champion, also known as TNA. All right, so with that being said, I thank everybody for being here tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be back here with more Niche News tomorrow. And, of course, this Sunday I'll be joined by Apex Actually, no, wait. This Sunday is the 24th. So actually, I'll be joined by Rick Piper. We'll be taking another look down comics history lane. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.